2022 meeting to order. And please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Fisher?
Yes.
Clerk Newbeck here. Treasurer Lochran? Here. Trustee Aliaga?
Here.
Trustee Brown?
Here.
Trustee Nalamothu?
Here.
And Trustee Ritchie.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. And I understand we may have a slight amendment to the agenda.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended by removing regular business item 1, request to approve Brady Lodge rental with alcohol, D. Krelak, Saturday, April 24th, 2022.
I'll support.
Moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. The motion carries. The agenda is approved. Any board announcements for this evening? Larry?
Just like to make another mention of the election that we're having on March 1st for the state representative. Election's about 4 weeks away, so you can still get an absentee ballot if you'd like. If you do have your ballot out, please make sure that you get it returned by 8 p.m. on Election Day. And that's all I have.
Okay, good idea. Any announcements or statements by anybody in the audience for matters that are not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none.
Just one additional comment
Yeah.
to carry is that you might want to announce it. We have the drop box out there too, if people want to.
Yes, we have 2 drop boxes. We have one at the west door of the building, and then we have the nice red, white, and blue one out in the parking lot. So you can utilize both of those for your applications and your ballots. Thanks, Ron.
All right, public comment, which I suppose is a little different than announcements and statements. And individuals from the audience can have 5 minutes or up to 5 minutes on matters not on the agenda. Okay, seeing none. I now have a very pleasurable duty to perform. We have 2 individuals I want to introduce to the board and to the public. First, Lieutenant Richard Cummins, who is now assigned to our substation. And if you had a wish list of qualifications for somebody to serve as our commander, you'd probably want somebody who's well-rounded and somebody that's familiar with our township. And Lieutenant Cummins meets both of these requirements. And he's worked with the Sheriff's Office for no less than 32 years. Well-experienced, variety of experiences, corrections, courts, road patrol, investigations. He was a detective before getting promoted to sergeant. Worked in the courts for 6 years, went over to Rochester Hills substation, and then fortunately we got him back. He came here where he served on the road patrol as a road patrol sergeant for 4 years, and then served as a detective sergeant for 6 years. He was promoted to lieutenant in October 2020. And came over here when Lieutenant Hill, who we all really appreciated, did a great job. But Lieutenant Hill moved on and moved up. Lieutenant Hill became a captain, is now at headquarters, as I understand it. And we are very fortunate to have Lieutenant Cummins back here with us. Welcome back to Independence Township.
Thank you, glad to be back.
We'll bring them up so the public can see.
Did you want to go address the podium and just so people can see your face and say hello?
Say hello. A new sheriff's in town?
Hello. Glad to be back. I'm looking forward to it, working with all of you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And as I say, we wish Captain Hill good luck and wish him well on his new assignment, and thank him for the good work that he did for us here. Another pleasure for me and really for the board is Dave Moran, who is here with us. By law, the township must have a duly qualified building official to do things like plan reviews, building permit issuance, inspections, and since last year, the township has been operating with a part-time building official. Brian Ottman has been really overseeing much of the day-to-day work in both the building department as well as the planning department, and I'm going to mention that again in a minute. So shortly after I arrived, we started doing interviews in earnest. We received several applications for building official, and we worked with Rachel Thompson from HR, who did a lot of the legwork, but also Carrie Dubeck and Rachel Loffren worked with us, and we had the help and expertise from Tim Berger, who's the building official from Oakland Township, who volunteered his time, and we're grateful for the time he spent, and he spent a considerable amount of time with us. And so of the applications we received, we were very happy to have received one from Dave Moran, and he's resided in the township since 1996. He's married and raised 2 children who are now adults and has 8 grandchildren.
That's correct.
He's been a licensed builder since 1982, and he worked in his own building company and also with others for a while, and later worked with substantial development companies where he was in charge of both the staff and pretty good-sized crews. Then he moved over to the public sector, and he left the rebels. No, just kidding. And moved over to the public sector in 2014, and his work has been through a company by the name of Wade Trim. Wade Trim is a large entity, 500 or so employees, and they do engineering, surveying, planning, and all kinds of things. And one of the assignments they have, similar to a few other companies, is that they run building departments for, at least staff building departments for entities. And so in 2014, Dave started working through Wade Trim at the city of Pontiac and had substantial assignments there, including the Amazon project that's over there. And so he was an inspector there, and then became a deputy building official in 2018 and has worked in that capacity since. And we are very fortunate, I believe, that Dave has accepted our position here as the building official in the Independence Township Building Department. He's a real deal professional, and he's going to maintain a first-rate department.
Thank you very much.
Welcome
for
aboard.
that. Thank you for that warm welcome. I'm excited to be here in the township. It's been home for over 25 years, and I just can't thank you enough. So I look forward to working with you all, and we'll get things done.
I know you will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Well, I can't finish these introductions with that explanation without also complimenting Brian Ottman, who, as I mentioned, we had a part-time building official, which left somewhat of a gap or opening that needed filling. That is to oversee a lot of the day-to-day work in the building department, staff and so forth. And Brian, who actually does a lot of other things, like a lot of tech things around the township, Brian came in and really filled that position so nicely. And everybody that is there is very happy that he did it. And we really appreciate that. And I'd like to say thank you to Brian as well here. That's really great. So it was a pleasure for me to be able to commend all three of you and look forward to great things coming in the future for the township. Okay. And maybe a little while we can get some pictures before you go home. For Lieutenant and Dave. Don't leave us yet.
We're
So-
gonna make you sit through a meeting first, so.
You can meet in the back if you want.
The christening.
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe-
that's true.
Yeah, that's a nice thing. All right, we have now the consent agenda. We have two items on the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes from January 18, 2022, and a request to approve the January 25 check run, $1,616,814, and also ratify the January 21 payroll in the amount of $297,576. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the consent agenda items 1 and 2?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda is approved, which brings us to the regular business. Item number 1 has been deferred, and we'll move right to item number 2, request to approve out-of-state travel for Great Lakes Parks Training Institute.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Annually, we send 2 of our park division folks to the Great Lakes Training Park Institute in Indiana for a conference and a week of training. This year, we're sending Park Superintendent Larry Hess and Park Maintenance Worker Ray Kwapitz. This year, Superintendent Hess is also the conference chair. So we did get a little bit of a price break on having him attend the conference this year because as the chair, they tend to pick up your room and a couple other things while he's there. So we were able to save a couple of bucks for his work and efforts. But this is a good opportunity to kind of figure out or at least learn about how other park departments across the region really are operating and maintaining certain systems within their park districts. Personal and career development, park and facility maintenance, natural resource management, and then natural and cultural interpretation. So it's always been a worthwhile conference to send our park guys to. They usually come back with new ideas on how we can not just cut corners and save us a few bucks, but kind of work a little bit more on the cutting edge with other maintenance departments across the region. So we're excited to have them go and bring back some worthwhile information for our department.
Just have a quick question.
Yes, question?
Do you typically alternate employees, or is it usually the same?
It depends. Typically, we would alternate, but we're down a park guy right now that
Okay.
usually alternates in and out. We usually send Superintendent Hess every year because he's been a board member for probably the last 3 or 4 years, so he typically goes. We do offer all of the guys to go, and not all of them choose to, but you know, we try to rotate the guys in so they get the experience and can pick up some new knowledge and hopefully pick up some new skills. But we only have 4 guys, so the rotation's pretty thin.
Yeah.
You know, we can only send so many guys and still manage to plow snow for a couple of days like we're looking at coming up.
Mhm.
It's kind of a weird time of the year, so it's a very small rotation.
Thank you.
Any other? Yes,
I have
Rich?
one. You mentioned that you might get a break on lodging and stuff for the chair.
Yeah.
Like you have lodging for Larry and the there. So is this just to is part of the total what you have in here? So
Yeah, well,
the motion's not asking us
surprised
to
you
do
caught
an
that. I
amount.
was trying to make a big to-do out of it, Ron. But
You did.
typically, I've been on conference committees in the past, and typically, you don't want to share a room with the conference chair, because they don't get a lot of sleep, they're usually in and out, there's a lot of AV and technical issues and meetings that you have to go to, so typically, those 2 guys would be in the same room, and from what I understand, one of them snores louder than a chainsaw. So this year, Larry getting a freer room, I think, would probably be a good thing for him to get, maybe the 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night that you can muster, so.
The motion doesn't have an amount in it, so we're okay. It's just, basically it goes back to the travel policy. If he
Yeah.
has to expend
Yep.
money, we'll reimburse him.
Of
But,
course.
but you're saying that there might not be any charge. for
Yeah,
him.
these total amounts are an amount not to exceed, obviously. They may not spend $20 per meal per day.
Right.
Typically, most people don't. You know, a lot of people don't even eat $20 worth of breakfast, so, we kind of max those numbers out so we know what the overall total could be, but very rarely do they reach the overall total.
Very good. I just want to, I guess, make it that the numbers you have are worst case scenario, so it should hopefully come in less than that, so.
And Pokagon State Park is close enough to where they can fill up one of the fleet trucks and drive it there and back on a full tank of gas, so that helps us out too. We don't have to pay for airfare or them driving their personal vehicles, so works out.
Very good.
Any other questions, comments, statements? Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the out-of-state travel for Parks, Recreation, and Seniors, Park Superintendent Larry Hess, and Park Maintenance Employee Ray Kwapitz to attend the 2022 Great Lakes Park Training Institute in Angola, Indiana, from February 29th through March 3rd, 2022, subject to the compliance with all travel policies and the township's employee policy and procedure manual.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So you're all set.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Derek.
Next on the agenda is approval of an intergovernmental agreement for the 2022 No-Haz program.
Good evening, everyone. This is kind of old hat, but it's a great program. This is our annual renewal for the 2022 No-Haz program that's put on through Oakland County. Independence Township has been a excellent participant in this program since in my whole tenure here. In fact, out of the 15 communities that are involved with it, we're coming in at number 3 all the time with participation. So we really, citizens of this township really participate in it. This is the annual renewal. Just to give you a couple of highlights, really, it's in the board packet, but it's kind of nice to just kind of point things out that these are independent statistics only. Can't talk today. So we had a great turnout, really. We had 4,278 people participate, which is fantastic. You know, that is, 574 participants, 4,278 total participants. And I think, let's see, 85,000 pounds of material was, donated or not donated, but gotten rid of through this program that were, from this township. They could have ended up somewhere else,
That's
And unfortunately, sometimes it ends up on the side of the road,
Yeah.
Especially at computers and things like that, hard to get rid of items. But the program is awesome. It really is one of the best I've ever seen. It's great. It's environmentally friendly. It's green. Everybody likes that. And there's a cost to it, of course. So we charge our residents $10 per car load. So you could bring a lot in your car or pickup truck. I participated myself, and I had my truck full. And
What would it cost somebody to take that to a landfill that receives that kind of thing?
excuse me, it's a great question, Jerry, because I think some of that stuff, they won't take computers. They won't take paint. So you'd have to shop, almost everything that you get rid of, because some places just won't take, we're not taking paint,
Right.
but they take everything. If you've ever participated in it before, you pull up in your car and you don't even get out of your car. You pop your trunk and they have staff and they take everything and they ask you what you got, paint, pull up a little bit, you pull all the paint out, you pull up a little bit more, they take all the computer stuff out and they have it all laid out in a big parking lot and they take care of everything. I didn't even get out of my vehicle. It was awesome. It was really good. So we do charge $10 per resident to participate in there to offset some of the cost on there. We had a great participation last year, and they base our costs based on our participation, the number they estimated. So along with this amendment to, along with the Mayfair to
Intergovernmental agreement.
the governmental agreement for the program, we're also asking for amendment, budget amendment to cover the cost on this, to maintain the $10 per resident fee on there. So it's a great program, so.
So we make that in two separate motions, I assume.
That's correct, it should be in May there, yeah.
Okay, any questions for Dave?
I just have a comment
Mhm.
that I've participated in and dropped off material as well to it. It's a fantastic program because, like you said, if we don't have an outlet to get rid of some of this stuff like that, it does end alongside the road.
It does,
And becomes more waste for the DPW to pick up. And so,
it does. And the county does a great job with because they bid out the pricing and all this, they have one vendor do that, so they've competitively bid the vendor who does all this, and the way they set it up is great. Just a note to make it clear, they have not solidified the collection points for 2022 yet. So last I heard, when I talked to Oakland County, they're saying mid to late February, they will have the dates nailed down. Typically, we have one here in Independence, and we like that, but we haven't for a couple of years due to, typically it was at the school, but they were doing a lot of maintenance on their parking lot, so we couldn't do that. So we always look for a place to have one here in Independence for our residents. You know, they turn out in droves right now. I can only imagine, if we have one here, they're gonna really turn out, so. More to come on locations and dates and times.
Great. Anything else? Okay, is there a motion to approve Part A, which is the intergovernmental agreement?
I'll move to adopt resolution number 2022-002 to approve the NOHAS agreement and appoint the DPW director as the representative to the NOHAS board and authorize the township supervisor to execute the North Oakland County Household Hazardous Waste interlocal agreement between Oakland County and Independence Township as presented.
I'll
Second.
support.
Moved and supported. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion?
This is a
Aye.
roll call.
Oh, is that roll call?
Yes.
Why is that a roll call?
It's a resolution. We do roll call for resolutions.
Ah, so it's deceiving me. That's simple.
Oh.
Deceived. All right, roll call.
Clerk Newbeck, yes. Treasurer Lockren?
Yes.
Trustee Aliaga?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Nalamothu?
Yes.
Trustee Ritchie?
Yes.
And Supervisor Fisher?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, Part B, motion to amend the budget for this program by $10,780.54.
I'll move to approve the 2022 budget amendment number 1 to increase the township budget for this program by $10,780.54.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, don't go away, though.
I'm not going, I'll stay right here.
We need more service.
Dave never spends money in one motion. He has to do multiple motions.
Okay, next item is a request to approve an agreement for CityWorks software and maintenance agreement.
Just a little reminder, CityWorks is the main work order system that the Department of Public Works uses for all our work. We implemented this program when we first started with our on-base system, which was our document management system. One of the criteria that we had when we started that program was that we wanted our work order system to integrate seamlessly with our document management system. On-base does that, and we're working towards that goal there. So essentially what it would be is on our work order system here, which is CityWorks, if we needed to bring up a document, it seamlessly just reaches out into OnBase and brings that document into the employee's hands and on a tablet, cell phone, or computer. We're working down there. There's a lot of big progress to get there, but this is what we were using for that is, or one of the criteria for CityWorks. Like I said, CityWorks is what we use to document our labor, material, and equipment for everything we do. That's the goal for everything we do. The guys go out and plow snow, there'll be a work order. We keep track of the vehicle, the time, material. We have over 7,000 work orders that we've done since we started this. So this was, like I said, when we first started in 2017 with the on-base system, we got a 3-year agreement with CityWorks to begin our work order system there. Since the 2017, that 3-year agreement was up. We got a 1-year renewal. There was no price increase. So we kept it going. After that year, we got another 1-year renewal, no price increase. So instead of trying to do that all the time, I requested that CityWorks give us a new three-year agreement, because I'd rather have a three-year agreement and we can negotiate the price as that way. Instead, we haven't had a rate increase since our inception of it, since 2017. So they asked for a $750 a year increase over what we were paying. To me, that was a no-brainer. So we went through the language of the contract, because during this time period, Azteca Systems, which is the owner of CityWorks, they are the company that owns CityWorks. They have a parent company that kind of switched over, but Azteca Systems is still the parent company for CityWorks. So in the corporate world, I guess that's how that works. So with the language with the contract, with the new contract, we had it reviewed by Mr. Kelly's office on there and had some suggestions put in. And Jerry, you helped out tremendously too with some language that we would like to have seen in there. I sent all that language to them. I had the document back within a couple hours. They put it in there verbatim as what was suggested by the township. So I thought that was great. It was really good. And there were both things that we got from supervisor and from legal it was more protection for us. It was more protection for the township. So something that might have been a little bit vague, and powers that be that know how to read that stuff looked out for our interest on there. So this is for another 3-year renewal. So this is what we would like to have the board approve tonight, so we can get this contract signed. We're all good to go. We have budgeted this increase. It's in our budget for the next 3 years already. I kind of anticipated something was going to happen, and I didn't want to continue with the year-to-year process on there. So.
Great. Any questions? Sounds like a good arrangement. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the CityWorks 3-year software license and maintenance agreement received from Azteca Systems of Sandy, Utah, in an amount not to exceed $15,750 per year, and authorize the execution of Addendum Number 3, third-party consultant contractor agreement between the Charter Township of Independence and DLZ Michigan of Waterford, Michigan, and authorize the supervisor to sign the agreement on behalf of the township.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve this agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Agreement is passed.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for all your hard work on it.
Appreciate it. This is a great, and just to let the board know that this CityWorks is available to any department in the township, as is right now. We just approved, so anybody can use it. We have users, so it's one of the things that we'd like to do is implement maybe later on down the road. Some of the other departments can use this to keep track of their stuff too, instead of going their own. This is a great, powerful tool, and it integrates with OnBase, which is really important. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is another agreement, this one involving the township and the road commission for Oakland County. As everybody will recall, back in 2018, the electors of the township approved a road improvement millage for roughly 28 miles of improvements in the township, an extraordinary accomplishment that went together, approved by the voters, and most of that project has been completed. We've got 2 segments left of the 28 miles, a segment of Holcomb Road and a segment of Maybe Road, and they would be the subjects of this project if the board approves this agreement with the road commission. And I might also indicate that when this is done, there will be some funds left for us to allocate for additional funding, and we'll have to spend some time figuring out exactly how to do that in a very fair and upfront manner for the township. So this really finishes the initial road improvement, the 28 miles, and the road commission is working very, very well with us on this in terms of dedicating some of their planning and engineering work and paying their fair share or more for this project. Any questions?
And just one comment, the road commission is also hoping that other townships or cities will engage in this thing, because it helps them concentrate and get more miles of road done each year.
Fix the damn roads.
There you go. Somebody told us that.
Yeah, right. Anything else to raise? Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the cost participation agreement between the Road Commission for Oakland County and the Charter Township of Independence for the resurfacing and reconstruction of an estimated 7 miles of county-controlled primary roads within the township, contribution capped at $2,255,500, and direct the supervisor to sign the agreement as the authorized representative of the township.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion further? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Another roll call? Is that a roll call?
Says roll call.
Says roll call.
And then it's a simple
By simple
majority, too.
majority.
Roll call.
Does it say roll call?
It says roll call, but so simple majority.
Well, that's.
Got them both on
It's
it.
both, it's both letter, yeah.
Well, you know what? It was unanimous, so that's equivalent of a roll call. How about that?
Aye.
Are we okay, right?
We're okay? I don't know how anybody could have a question if it's unanimous. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a request, a nomination to appoint a member to the Planning Commission. And this is an opportunity to appoint a member to the Planning Commission for really the open seat to the Planning Commission. And I am nominating Tom Pytel to fill the remaining vacant seat on the Planning Commission. Tom is a 27-year veteran of the township, 27-year resident of the township, residing with his wife Ann, who is a lifelong resident of this area. His home is located in the northwest quadrant of the township in an area that can be fairly characterized as large lots and open space. Tom is a doctor of veterinary medicine, serving both pets and farm animals. He's been a member of the North Oakland Headwaters Land Conservancy for more than 25 years and has served on the board of directors of that group. If approved by this board, Tom's participation on the Planning Commission will promote the intent of the Planning Enabling Act to have a membership with representation of various segments of the community. Now, Tom is, as I mentioned, is a professional veterinarian doctor. He will provide the viewpoint of soil and water conservation. He'll foster civility on the commission, and I believe will listen to all views carefully and vote in accordance with the best interests of the township, consistent with the master plan, the ordinance, and state law. So I nominate Tom Pytel for this position. And I turn it over to the board.
I really like your selection. And, you know, I know that there's a lot been said in the last, you know, with all the development, we talked about it a few meetings ago, that there's been a really unleashing of development because things were pretty stagnant for a while from the collapse that happened. But I've always felt that the board, in the years that I've been on it, has followed the master plan and kept those kind of things south of I-75. And I just think this is a great selection to show that we certainly understand and value the perspective of folks who live on the north part of 75. They're part of the community, and I was really, really pleased to see that. So
Great.
I will be supporting that.
I'll comment on that too, is I liked his qualifications of the North Oakland Headwaters Association Land Conservancy. Can't even speak tonight. But like say some of the viewpoints he can bring in on
Yeah.
those types of things as well.
Yeah, he's a very sensitive guy and smart, obviously. Any members of the public care to speak to this?
Online. Yeah.
Anybody online?
I have a question.
Jose.
Yes, Supervisor.
I just wonder, how many people apply for the position since this was, since we have the vacancy?
Three people.
Oh, 3 people. Okay. And then we advertise in the Clarkston News or some of the local media about this position?
I don't think we haven't advertised. I did say something about, people interested in applying to things to contact us, and I continue to do that. And my thought is to create a bank of people
Mhm.
that we'll have for any future nominations.
Okay.
For any of the boards or commissions.
Any of the boards and commissions, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a nomination. Is there a motion to approve the nomination?
I'll move to appoint Tom Pytel as nominated by the Township Supervisor as a regular member of the Planning Commission for a 3-year term scheduled to expire December 31st, 2024.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor of appointing Tom Pytel, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Tom Pytel is appointed. All right, next item on the agenda is request to adopt a resolution to amend the Board of Trustees special rules. And there is quite a few little details here, but one or a couple of the points that you'll find in here, and some of it, a good part of it, is already in there, and it's kind of reordering it and making it a little clearer, hopefully. But we're moving the subject on the agenda of closed sessions and things like that to the end, which we almost always do anyway. And so we're just going to start at the end, and if the board wants to move it up, that's always possible. But we'll just reorder it in a way that it normally occurs. We have opportunities for the public to speak on items that are not on the agenda as well as items that are on the agenda. And in one case, it's 3 minutes. In one case, it's 5 minutes. And we've had people that have come in and suggested that maybe 3 minutes wasn't enough. So we're making both 5 minutes, increasing the time that the public can speak, and just clarifying those kinds of rules.
I think it also makes it easier to not mix up which one's 3 minutes, which one's 5 minutes.
Right.
So
Right.
I like the consistency of that, so.
Was
I
that?
wonder, yes, I saw, I see, did our attorney check it out, it was already reviewed by your local attorney, this? And is this, I just wonder,
I don't think so. It really wasn't anything that was legal, legal in nature.
all right,
It's just procedural.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, I just wonder.
I think the biggest thing was the, moving the, closed session to the end, because,
Yeah,
we always felt bad stopping the meeting
right.
right at the
Okay.
beginning, so.
We're always amending the agendas, so.
All right.
Okay, so the end, okay, that's, okay.
This is kind of a cleanup.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just
You can get it right
wonder
from the
because-
beginning.
Get it right from the beginning, right?
Did you have something?
No, I think,
Okay.
I think at the first read, I was going, what are we changing?
Right.
And, I mean, I obviously I saw that we were changing it to give more time to speak. I think it, for anyone who wasn't, I don't know that any of us read these that often.
Right.
And so a lot of things that are in there are things that have always been there, the rights that the board has, the chair has, and they're in there, but at the same time, it's pretty normal that we don't enforce these.
Literally.
Right? Literally, because, in the 9-10 years I've sat here, there have been a few meetings that have gotten, pretty heated, but I think that's okay. And certainly, I didn't see anything here that led me to believe this was because of some meetings.
Mhm.
Because really, everything in here is already there. You kind of
Right.
cleaned it up a little,
Right.
improved it a little bit. All the rights that are in here, the chair already had to have people come to the podium and speak. which again, when things get going, that we don't always have that happen, but I don't think there's any intention here, I didn't feel that way,
Right.
to try and stifle
No.
what people want, simply to make sure it's very clear what the rules are, even if we don't always follow them exactly.
Right.
Which is okay, you're better off not following them and letting the public talk as much as they want.
Right.
Because again, we don't face that sort of thing on a regular basis, and so I think it's okay.
Okay, anything else? Appreciate those comments. If not, is there a motion to approve these rules?
I'll move,
There's typically roll call because it's a resolution.
Okay,
Do you want us to do it separately or? So
Oh.
we're adopting the resolution, so it's typically,
yeah, that's fine.
okay,
Just adopt the resolution, which has the effect of amending the rules.
okay, sorry, go ahead.
okay. Move to adopt resolution number 2022-003 to amend the Board of Trustees special rules as presented effective February 1st, 2022.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Any discussion for the public? Anybody online? Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll
Oh, roll call. We could do another another
All in favor
unanimous.
of a roll call?
Whether, yeah, okay, roll call.
Treasurer Lockren,
Yes.
Trustee Aliaga,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Alamothu,
Yes.
Trustee Ritchie.
Yes.
Supervisor Fisher.
Yes,
And Clerk Newbeck, yes. Motion carried.
carries. Okay, one last item on the regular part of the agenda is discussion on WebEx. Last time, we made an initial judgment that the legislature had terminated the authority for members of boards and commissions to appear electronically at meetings. And the only reason why the electronic meetings were established in the first place is because of COVID and people couldn't attend meetings. And so it had the indirect effect of allowing the public to not only watch them on YouTube or otherwise, but to also participate in the meeting. And so when this came up at the last meeting, indicating that our contract was running out with WebEx, Paul, you came forward and said, well, let's have this on a discussion. And so here we are, and I'll give you the floor to start with.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I wanted to see what the costs were because I didn't know what the costs were. And given really the low costs, we spend a great deal of money to communicate to the public every month. And given the low cost of this, I just want to understand why we would not want to keep it. And really, if anything, promote it so that it's even more utilized. Because we often hear that decisions are made in the dark. And of course, we know they aren't. They're made at this board, and people are allowed to talk about it. And I think we should embrace this and do what we can to expand public participation. We certainly have meetings where we may see 10 to 12 folks dialed in here on the screen up here. I'd love to see us need another screen when we got 24, 30, 50 people watching the meeting. I mean, that's I think what we're talking about here, and I would not support making a change from what exists right now. So.
Okay. Anybody else?
I do.
Jose?
I have a question. So right now we have Webex that people can see on live right now how the meeting is going. Like right now we have few people right there. I can see that. So if we decide to cancel this contract and don't go over Webex, are we still have some sort of way that people can see on live this meeting on live
Yeah,
without participating? Because the
Yeah.
reason Webex is there is because of people can participate besides
That's right.
watch in the meeting. So I want to know, can the same people will be able to watch on live without participating if we
Yes.
decide not to go with this?
And I clarified that with our
ITV.
ITV, and the indication is that there is the possibility, or not possibility, the ability to participate, not participate, but to view the meeting, so there's transparency about what's going on YouTube.
YouTube,
Yeah,
okay.
YouTube, so,
Bye.
And they're watched
But-
live.
Live, right.
but that doesn't give people the opportunity to actually participate.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But what Paul is saying that he would like actually to continue is that since the price is lower and the benefits is allowing people to participate, that's the difference right here.
Right.
Right? Okay.
Well, it's not lower than not doing it. There is a cost to it.
No, it is cost,
Right.
it is cost, but there's no like a significant cost, it's a big burden for township. I mean, you know, last time a few weeks or 3 weeks ago, we have a group of people came and they were really upset because we decided to reduce the timing for people to speak up, you know, publicly. But now we make it clear that it's gonna be 5 minutes now. But now we kinda making a decision to get rid of Webex, which is another tool that give people the ability to watch and participate. I understand some other communities already decide not to go with Webex anymore. I'm aware about that.
Yeah, I did somewhat of a survey of supervisors, and Bloomfield, Milford, Commerce, and Orion are not
Okay.
continuing with the mutual participation. I did not hear from other communities, so there could be another story there.
Right, and it's about to making the right decision, that's why I bring that to the discussion
Yeah.
as well. Because sometimes doesn't mean because other people don't do it, doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. I mean, we done so many things in the past that are totally different than other communities, end up being a good thing besides the roads, the Oakland County, or the schools, when we moved the TV station to the schools, that nobody else has done that except us and work out great. So what I'm saying is, I think that for the cause that Paul is highlighting here, I mean, why not to keep it one more year and see, how we going? Because I think a lot of people still using it, a lot of people still use that tool, and we sending a message in Oakland County that we still, supporting the freedom of speech and all that in other communities. That's just my opinion.
Sure,
You know.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Terry?
Yes, well,
And this covers not just this meeting, right? This can be used for the planning commission meetings, zoning meetings, right?
yes,
Okay, so yeah, so this is, it's not just us, it's all those meetings, and so I think that's important too.
now we do have the option, and I confirmed this today with Brian, that we have the option of doing this on a month-to-month basis to make sure that people continue to show up and use it, so maybe that would make some sense.
Yeah, I'm for that. I mean, we do have some people on, but many times we have nobody on. So I would hate to spend taxpayer money if nobody's gonna use it. But if people keep coming to the meetings via Webex,
Well, I
then,
think participating, because they can come to the meeting.
or they can watch it on
through
YouTube for free.
But if they
And
want to contribute to the meeting, this would be their avenue. And I think we rarely have people contribute,
Right.
through WebEx. They do view it, just like they can view it here, but
Right, that's a good
I
point,
think-
yeah.
there's a division there, so.
Jose?
It is a very good point, and the reason we end up with Webex now is because what happened, 2 years ago with COVID, and we don't know what's gonna happen next
Right.
week, next
Mhm.
month, but we see the variants and all these things, and people still, afraid, and I think I like the idea to keep it maybe a few more months, like you're saying,
Yeah,
and see what happens,
sure,
I mean, it's just what I see right now.
makes sense.
I mean,
All right, does anybody want to? Oh,
I
Ron,
just,
sorry.
I'd just like to chime in, I guess,
Yeah,
and
please.
comment that, I guess I'm in favor of keeping this at least through 2022, and maybe revisit it at the end of the year or the beginning of next year again. I guess my only question is, since in my work life, I guess I've used WebEx and I've also used Microsoft Teams, and I think Teams is a much better platform, but it's whether it's convenient for the public to use or not. So I mean, in my mind, I would favor us going with Teams, but if it's harder for the public to utilize that platform, then I guess I would favor staying with WebEx. I guess I'm not in favor of Zoom because I've used that and had quite a bit of trouble with that. just in quality of
So maybe a motion
service.
could be made to continue with interactive ability electronically with either Webex or some alternative that is convenient.
Right, as long as it's convenient for the public
Yeah.
to use and comparable in cost.
Right.
So
Right,
I guess I'd be favored of
I
okay?
wondered if, Brian, if you could come up so I could ask you a question. Brian's familiar with Teams. Do you know that answer on, then for the public that might not have Microsoft Office or something? What would their
Yeah, so,
limitations be?
what we would have to do as a township is, we would have to have one license upgraded to what we, currently have. And what that allows us is for people to have a phone-in number. Right now, all of our licenses in the township don't have that capability, but we'd upgrade, like the clerk's license, to allow a phone-in. If you don't have a Microsoft account, you can join by through your browser, and you don't have to have any kind of credentials to do that. So it's universally compatible. Because we deal a lot with the road commission, obviously, through the road millage. All of theirs were on Teams. Well, before we got our licenses upgraded last month, we would have to join through a browser, and it worked seamlessly.
I guess, like I say, using it in my work, it just seems like the audio quality is better, the video part is crisper, cleaner than WebEx, and it's just whether or not, like I say, if as long as the public can get on it just as easy. And there's one other part about the interaction and everything. The devices. As long as they get on with any kind of device, like they get on with
Yeah,
their
they
phone.
can use a phone, they
and
can
everything
use
as well,
a
so.
laptop, iPad, they all function seamlessly. One thing too is Independence Television sent myself a video today to show the interaction and the ease of use for Teams with their TriCaster. So essentially it creates more of a production value footage, so when someone's talking, you don't see the screen like we do in WebEx. It's literally, you cut right to that person, so it looks like more like a live production.
So interact with ITV very well as well.
It does,
So,
yeah.
okay. So that's lovely.
That'd be great, yeah.
One more question, Jerry.
Yeah, Paul.
So that alleviates my concern about folks needing a Microsoft license, because that would be a no-starter for me, but it sounds like that's not an issue. My only other question is, do you still have the administrative control so that if we have 12 people up here on the screen and one of them unmutes themselves and has, some rock concert going on in the background and walks away, can you mute them?
Yes,
So you still have, that was the only other concern. So
yeah.
I would be good with maintaining an access equal to the, what's available with WebEx, if that's Teams or whatever, for 2022 as well.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brian. Anybody online care to comment on this?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Kevin Rosnick, 7907 Brookwood. I do appreciate the opportunity to not only view, but be a participant. My job affords me opportunities to travel quite a bit, so I'm not always in the township when these sessions are going on. Regarding Microsoft Teams, I think it is a much better platform than WebEx. I can barely make out the names and faces here on WebEx, where MS Teams is much more crisp. So I do highly encourage you all to continue to have these interactive sessions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your input. Anybody in the audience here?
Am I the speaker?
Oh, we have another online speaker? I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
I'll come right back.
Hi,
Yes,
am I up? Oh, all right. My name's Frankie Cruz, 6567 Greenhaven. I agree with Kevin Rosnick. I think it's a great thing to have. Everybody has different lifestyles and family type situations that may not allow them to attend current township board meetings. So I would actually love to see the township board keep this type of interactive meeting style.
all right, thank you. Anybody else that's online? Seeing none, you have the floor.
Good evening, Ray Llewellyn, 9254 Pine Knob Road. I think having the interaction, whether it's Webex or another brand, I think is great. The only thing I would really urge to whomever, whether it be a trustee or it be an elected official on the board, is to get the message out there via Facebook or some other method online to encourage people to dial in or log in or however they're able to connect, to view the meetings. Because I think the more people are viewing it and interacting directly with these meetings, I think is much better for this whole community. Because they hear everything firsthand and they see everything firsthand. And two, they have an opportunity to speak up. Maybe somebody's older, they don't drive at night, so they don't want to come out to the meetings, but yet they have thoughts, they have input that they want to give.
Okay, good input, thank you.
Thanks, Ray. I just have one more comment that I just thought of from Ray speaking was, gonna have a senior moment, I just forgot what it was. But
Everything.
basically when the people can interact and everything, but I'll think of it. It has
You'll
something to do
think
with the
Advertising.
using the Teams versus the other one, so.
Okay.
Oh, I know what it was, is the, Brian, and maybe you can confirm this, like with WebEx, it's like each week there's a different password or something. And I think with Teams, it might just be the same login each time.
Yeah, it's a link. They don't use codes, meeting codes and passwords.
And
And
one-
here we keep the password the same, but the meeting codes change every single time.
Yeah, that's one of the things I didn't like about WebEx, that meeting code, and caused confusion at a couple of the
Right.
meetings where people said I couldn't get on because they were, well, they were
Yeah, and we've
logging
had
onto
to
the wrong link.
embed the hyperlink to the meeting into the agendas. It says join meeting in green, and you could click on that, and it would take you right to the
Right,
WebEx
but with Teams,
meeting.
it'll be the same
It's just a
login,
simple
so
link.
it should be simpler for the public as well to
And a
log
phone
in,
number.
so.
Yeah.
Good,
Thank you for confirming it, Brad.
good. Sam? Welcome.
Good evening, Sam Morocco, 8815 Pine Knob Road. I first want to thank Paul for what he did at the last meeting. I feel that the way that was handled, that before the Pledge of Allegiance, we were just going to shut it all down, and if Paul didn't speak up at the end of the meeting, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. It would have already been a done deal. So I don't think that was handled very well, but I'm glad that you did speak up, and I appreciate that. I was surprised that the rest of you didn't kind of jump on board with that, but for transparency. But obviously, the cost is insignificant to the budget of the township when it relates to transparency and participation, so I don't even know what talking about the budget's even relevant. But if you do want to, if the money is an option, I don't know why it's a one-year thing. It should just be it's the only good thing that came out of COVID, is that you have interaction with the public at your public meetings. There's no argument to stop that. Whether participation's up or down is going to depend on the controversy of the agenda item or the interest of the resident. So that's not really something to base it on. But also, from my experience working at the township, at the January 18th meeting, Dan was in online. So I'm sure that there's a significant savings there for not charging us to drive to the meeting and home again, as our attorney. That's not, that's time. I'm sure that someone gets compensated for it, and especially Ron would know at the Planning Commission, we have people from all over the country that are the architects, the engineers, the designers of these platforms and these projects that are from all over the nation, and that allows us to have the resources to ask them questions, to have firsthand intel in real time at the meetings. And so not even the public, the savings and information we gain by having that accessible to consultants and lawyers and participants in the boards, the zoning board, the planning commission, and the township board. There's just no downside to keeping it going. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
My
Yes,
quick,
Joe?
All right.
I have a quick comment on that. As long as whatever is talked about on these meetings is done in a legal fashion, I mean, there are times we still have our closed stuff and people can't, there's certain things the public's not gonna hear, and there's times we have our closed session, and just so they understand that, and, you know, the back and forth of, it shouldn't be a tool where people get lazy either, is what I'm saying. To just because it's there, if you are one of our, contractors, whatever, that should be here, unless something really keeps you away from it, there's no reason you shouldn't be here in person. I'm just trying to make it where it's not an easy out for people that should be in attendance as part of their job or position or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Jose?
Yeah, Supervisor, just, if I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, correct me. Last time, the last meeting that Mr. Murdock was referring, nobody make a motion that we're gonna cancel Webex. You in the beginning of the meeting says that you make a comment regarding the governor, make a resolution that things is gonna be normal, remember? Because the far as I know, is Governor Whitmer says that it's no necessity to have the meetings online. It wasn't our decision, it wasn't us saying we don't want Webex anymore, it was the state of Michigan, the governor, right, or no?
No, it's not correct.
Oh, so it wasn't,
No, Jerry had indicated we were just gonna let that expire, that.
oh,
it
okay,
was gonna
because
be
I
gone.
saw that, because I asked that I wanna participate in the meetings online, I was told I cannot do that because
Right.
we cannot do it anymore, and then there was a reason that we're gonna be changing the meetings.
No, that's why I made the motion at the end of the last meeting to change what we talked
Well,
about.
but what he's saying is the governor allowed that emergency order to expire.
Yeah.
We
That's how it's-
cannot
that's
how
have
it's-
WebEx
Yeah.
meetings
I understand
anymore.
that, but
Yeah.
he suggested that we weren't gonna change anything, and that's not correct.
No,
The beginning of the meeting,
there is gonna be
the
discussed.
supervisor,
this-
the beginning of
gonna
the
be
meeting, the
discussed.
supervisor indicated that we were gonna stop providing WebEx, and that was it, and we had the Pledge of
And
Allegiance.
that's gonna come in the next meeting to
No,
discuss.
that only happened at the end of the meeting because I asked the board to do that, then the board decided.
That's right.
All right, okay,
That's
Right.
right.
all right,
Yeah.
well, we're gonna make a final
Joe,
decision.
did you? I cut you off before. Sorry.
Joe Sucher, 5071 Hilltop Estates. First of all, I agree with all the positive comments about the use of the technology, not on this, but on everything. The increased use to provide information to the residents and for you to get information from the residents, it just is a win-win in the long run. And I think this technology, once you get it in, the township will continue to find new ways to use it, which is even better. So my only suggestions are two, and I wish I had solutions, but I don't, is one is to get the information out to the residents on how this can be used. And the other thing is to internally figure out how to use this better than we're currently using it. I mean, you said for the planning commission, I'm just pulling this out of my ear, the zoning commission, should it be, shouldn't it be? Is there some other things it could be used for? Just, a brainstorming session internally to figure out how to better utilize the abilities that this provides the township. So,
Okay.
that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good,
Joe.
good input. Sir?
Thank you. Matt Tenio, 9260 Pine Knob Road. I just want to kind of just go that the WebEx is, I think it's really important to be able to have the open communication. I'm an engineer and work for a company we're based in Rochester Hills. My headquarters is in Japan, and we have international calls, and so I'm having group interactions kind of like this from across the planet. And at the same time, I'm also having meetings for people who are on the other side of the building. So it's, now that after COVID happened, and we're still in it, this is the way we live now. It's like WebEx, Zoom calls for all the kids in schools. It's just part of our lives now. And I think that we have to embrace it, make sure we're using it properly, right? Make sure that we are using it as much as possible, just having it in the background and not part of the meeting, just having it, some guy in the back not really talking. That's not gonna be as helpful, but I think having that be pretty much as equal to someone sitting here as someone is online, I think that's gonna be really important to keep going forward. I think that's gonna keep us modern and keep things moving forward in the right way. And I think the other idea of using WebEx more, I think if the cost is a concern, doing training, some of the other webinars or things where we use those a lot, where people can do this all online now. So if it isn't a meeting, we can still have open discussions. If you want to have presentations on something, we can have that separate from an actual meeting. I think that's are really important. And the ease of access, making sure people can easily do it, whether it be Microsoft Teams. I know that's kind of a corporate one, but I know we use WebEx. I know every one of our kids, they use Zoom. I mean, we got kindergartners using Zoom, so if they can do it, we should be able to have anybody do it. And all the schools do it. So I think it's just part of our lives now. We can't turn it off. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Were you up there to get back?
Yeah, I just want to add something to it, and that is that Brian brought up, and somebody else did, about this Teams or whatever this other company is, that you just have one password, period, you know, not changing this and that. Well, to me, there's a couple of ways. If you didn't go to the Facebook sending out a blast to everyone saying, okay, this is the deal, every taxpayer, you know, every property owner, you could send them a sheet saying, here it is, just encouraging people to get involved in the township and saying, here it is, here's, you know, the dates for the planning commission, the zoning, all these different commissions, and they're all gonna be on the same one. And here's the password or whatever it is, for them to be able to log on. Just trying to encourage people to get involved and participate.
Good idea.
That's part of your advertising, Ray, that we took,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, definitely.
That's part of your advertising point that you made. We understand that, and I agree with that, so.
Okay.
So I think probably what I understanding is the best way maybe will be promoted in the Clarkston News, since we have this magazine, the
Times.
Township Times. We
Yeah.
put it there in the front page so nobody miss it, and promote it. And since if we go with Teams, it seems to be easy to get in because it's just, you know, it's just one single thing to click.
Yep.
I use Teams all the time. I mean, it's very good. It's very modern, and I think, I mean, you use it so you can tell, you know, it's very good. So I think that will be the right advertising that way, because we already have subscription with Cluster News anyway, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It will go well.
Great. Any other? Paul?
I just want to say that I like this team right here.
Thank you. And we only have one code. Okay, now this is gonna have to be a carefully crafted motion. Ron, have you been working on it?
I've been thinking about it, so I'm gonna move or motion to continue with interactive services. I guess with, I don't know who we're gonna put in charge of doing, is that gonna be Brian or the technical committee or?
The IOTC, ITOC.
ITAC?
Well, you can just, the supervisor can
All right.
tell whoever to do it.
Okay. I'll move to continue interactive services through a platform that the public can participate, whether it be WebEx, Microsoft Teams, or whatever's deemed to be the best quality, as well as ease of use by the public, and secure the license and utilization for the meetings as anticipated and desire of the public choice. And charge the supervisor to implement that. How wordy is that?
Got that, Carrie?
No, that was wordy. I'm glad it's
Second.
taped.
Okay, great. Is there a second?
Second.
Paul, seconds appropriately, right? Any other discussion?
Yeah, I have one more, because I think I brought this up even last year when Pat was still here. We are behind in the times by not having a Facebook page. We are behind the times not having a Twitter or anything. A lot of people communicate that way, whether the people on this board do or not. And if it was something back then that Supervisor Kittle didn't use very much, I get it, but it's the way of the world, and I think there needs to be another avenue besides the Clarkston News that the people can get this information. And our township does not have a Facebook page. The Parks and Rec Department does. I see their stuff all the time. But the actual board, or whatever you want to call it, I think someone should be in charge of that, even if it's updated once a week. If you can't do something daily with people, even once a month is helpful. Get these meetings out, let people know, but I think by now, I mean, you've already got new platforms out there that I think we should be joining. And I think we're just a little behind, and it should be something looked at.
Okay, Paul?
If I could just suggest, I think Orion Township has a page.
A lot of them do.
So I would, maybe if you reach out to Chris, he might tell you what they did to go about it.
Okay.
And you can make them that where, it's not full of people commenting back, it's just information.
Sharing information, yeah.
Pushing things
Sharing
out.
information.
Yep.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Did you have something?
Just a very quick, back to what you were saying. I think a lot of people use the Google calendars, where it's a public calendar, and that you can subscribe to calendars. And we use that, I know for scouts, we have that, it's open, and then you can just, a person can just attach that to their calendars, and then it's just something they have in their feed. So it's very, very easy to be open to, here's this agenda, and then it's just a meeting that everyone can look at. You want to just find out, you just have to say, follow this calendar. It's not even something you really have to update, it's just a calendar everyone can see, which would be very, very easy to add, or to look at least.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, there's a motion on the floor that's been seconded. And I won't repeat the motion.
Good luck if I can
But I
remember.
think everybody knows roughly what it is. And Carrie will wordsmith it when,
Yes.
based on the recording.
Correct.
So it won't be changing it, it'll just be based on the recording.
That's correct.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? You want to do a roll call also?
No, thank you.
Just kidding, just kidding.
Just for fun.
Just for fun, that's right. Okay, item N, communications. We have a report from the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, monthly report, December 2021, and minutes of the election commission, final October 12, 2020. Any final board member comments?
Hunker down, it sounds like, right?
Hunker down. We don't know.
You've never seen snow before.
Yeah, we don't know what.
Did it used to be Chuck Gatica with the cuddle alerts?
Yes, it was.
Right.
I don't think I've seen those.
Oh gosh, it used to be cuddle alert, that's what you would say for the snowstorm.
Had to get pictures with our
Yes,
new
cuddle
staff.
alert. Okay, everybody stay safe.
Anything else?
Move to
Is there a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, maybe we have a couple pictures with Dave.